So now Senate Republicans get their hands on Donald Trump's tax cuts that will save Christmas. Here's an article from Vox. New dynamic score shows the Senate tax bill will raise the debt by more than advertised. I thought it was going to balance the budget, so raising the debt at all would be more than advertised. Here are some exact quotes from the article. Now, keep in mind, we're not using liberal standards here. We're using the standards of a man named Kent Smithers. Here's what you need to know. Kent Smithers was in the Treasuries in the Newt Gingrich era Congressional Budget Office. If you do not know, that was around the 1990s. And he's a veteran of George W. Bush's Treasury Department. If you don't remember how well the Bush tax cuts worked, they didn't. A new analysis using his well-regarded budget model has concluded the Republican tax plan won't raise nearly as much revenue as its proponents say, or provide a meaningful boost to economic growth. So already they got actual economists who, may I remind you, kind of sort of started falling for it the first couple times, just going, no, this won't raise revenue nearly as much as they're promoting. But here are some specifics. The problem, according to a pair of news reporters by the Penn-Warburton budget model, is that the Senate Republican tax bill would increase the federal debt more than advertised, and increased debt accumulation would contradict much or potentially all of its positive growth impacts of tax cuts. You see, that's funny because there really aren't any. The results will likely be lower income for the bottom half of the income distribution, even before considering the negative impact of inevitable spending cuts to the offset surprising low federal tax intake. So it's a failure. So it's essentially a failure. Right there, it's saying, oh, remember when Donald Trump goes on Twitter all the time and is like, tax cuts means more money for you people. They're going to be tremendous taxes. They're going to save Christmas. Again, he actually said that. They're going to be tremendous, let me tell you. These tax cuts are going to be great. They're going to give more money to you. I remember I went on the GOP official Twitter once, and it was like, tax cuts means more money in your pocket. Not according to this. Now, here are a few more specifics. This is from TYT, who covered this in somewhat detail. By 2019, Americans earning less than $30,000 a year would be worse off under the Senate bill, CBO found. CBO is the Congressional Budget Office. But wait, I thought these were tax cuts. No, we apparently are worse off. I thought they meant more money in my pockets now if I'm making $30,000 less a year, unless the CBO is telling me more money is a bad thing. By 2021, Americans earning $40,000 or less would be at a net losers. And then by 2027, people earning less than $75,000 a year would be worse off. So essentially, this bill is worse off for a majority of people. And keep in mind, where are the Steven Crowders of the world who say, oh, the top 1%, that's like anyone making over $100,000 a year at this point? One, that's a problem. Okay, let's not bypass it. That's a problem. It's like when people say, oh, $15 an hour, that's how much paramedics make. No, that's a problem if paramedics are only making that much. And two, well, then you just screwed over a majority of the population. And then that majority of the population may not vote Republican again. Who knows? And keep in mind, Republicans have been doing this for years. Reagan raised taxes on the poor about 18 times. Bush's tax cuts went, I think it was 14% at the bottom. Once again, they're just doing that same thing again, because that's what they do. That's their game. I don't know how to go out. And for that matter, remember the balanced budget point? Well, It turns out when you cut off revenue to the federal government, the deficit only goes up. We saw this. Reagan exploded the deficit. He made it 3 times higher than it ever had been. And Bush also got us over $1 trillion in debt for the first time. We had I think it was over 1.5 trillion annual deficit. I think the exact numbers were about 1.7 trillion. So again, these guys just explode the deficit, raise taxes on the poor, and then go to Democrats and go, oh, why are you raising taxes on the poor and exploding a deficit? That's just what you did! I don't know. I'm Ephrom, and good night.